Wait till I sit down.
I-
Then I stand up.
I don't fall happy.
Joe, how'd you know?
I was waiting, wait.
Bruce, you ready? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the City of Millville regular session meeting for October 19th, 2021, at approximately 7 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Santiago.
Here.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Here.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Here.
Commissioner Udalvis. Here. Commissioner Cooper.
Here.
We all stand for the invocation and salute to the flag. Reverend Tom Stark from the First United Methodist Church is to deliver the invocation.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for inviting us. A reading from Psalm 133. How good and pleasant it is when God's people live together in unity. It is like precious oil poured on the head, running down on the beard, down upon the collar of his robes. It is as if the dew of Hermon were falling on Mount Zion, for there the Lord bestows his blessing. Let us pray this evening. Gracious and Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for the ways you continue to bestow upon us here in the city of Millville. We thank you for the ways you continue to show us and guide us and direct us. We'd ask tonight that as we meet together, that you would help us to find a way to meet in unity for the betterment of not just this city, Lord, but for your people, brothers and sisters, families, friends, and even strangers. Lord, we thank you the way you continue to pour resources into this city, and we'd ask that you would guide us and direct us in those manners as well, that we would use them to continue to build the unity that you so desire. Lord, we just want to say how much tonight that we are thankful and that we have gathered together to give not just words, but also our hearts. We'd ask that you'd be on our tongues as we speak and to be on our ears as we listen, and that all may be honoring unto you. In your most precious name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you, Reverend. This meeting is being conducted in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975, was advertised, posted, and made available to the public as required by statute. The municipal clerk is directed to include a statement in the minutes of this meeting. Madam Clerk?
We have three changes to the agenda. There are three additions. The addition of a motion to remove from the table resolution approving letter of intent between the City of Millville and Symphony Brands Holding Company, and also the addition of the resolution approving the letter of intent between Symphony Brands Holding Company and the City of Millville. We also have the addition of a resolution approving an amendment of a letter of intent for Sweet Spot Cannabis. And those are the changes.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any review changes to the agenda?
Oh, I just mentioned them.
You sure?
Yes, that was them.
Okay.
That was it.
Bills?
Mr. Mayor, move the bills be paid if properly certified.
Second the motion?
Got a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
We'll go right into presentations.
Okay, we have a presentation of letters of commendation to the fire and EMS staff.
Good evening, everyone. Mike Lippincott, Fire Chief here in the city of Millville. So we're going to do some recognition of some public safety staff today, myself, and then in a few minutes, Chief Feltus, who's my EMS Bureau Chief, and Chief of Police Farabella also. I don't know, since it's public safety, I don't know if Director Pepitone wants to come down to this end of the dais.
Proclamation as well.
So, at this time, to start this process off, I would like to have firefighter, Fire Marshal Tyler Van Leer, please come up front. Okay. So, We're going to be recognizing Firefighter Van Leer tonight for something that took place actually back in April, and it's been kind of had it on the back burner. I knew immediately of the situation. I was notified of what happened, but we wanted to kind of wait to see how the whole situation played out with the person involved, and it fortunately turned out to be a very positive outcome, but the person did have a long recovery, and I believe just recently returned to work. So, so just a little bit about the situation. Firefighter Van Leer serves as one of my fire marshals as far as having responsibility for fire investigations and fire inspections in the city. We are also one of 2 departments in the county that have a canine program. Along with Bridgeton, we have an accelerant dog that sniffs out accelerants as part of fire investigations. When you have a canine, they have to have annual training, actually monthly recertifications to make sure that if anything goes to court or anything issues around the canine, that we have proper training records. So April 28th, 2021, Firefighter Van Leer was attending a canine academy in Voorhees for a monthly recert with his canine partner Hansel. During the class, near the end of the class, it was noticed that a police officer, canine officer from the Orange Police Department, I'm not going to mention his name, I don't really have permission under HIPAA and all that, but collapsed on the ground. Initially, they thought maybe he had tripped and fell. Officers and Firefighter Van Leer went over. They quickly realized that this gentleman, who was only in his 40s, had suffered a cardiac arrest right there on the training grounds. So Firefighter Van Leer is also a certified EMT, and the reports I got from officers there, including Officer Butsky, was that Tyler took charge of the scene, immediately began CPR. Another officer there retrieved an AED, automatic external defibrillator, brought it over. Firefighter Van Leer applied the AED, administered the shocks. Eventually, fire EMS arrived. The officer was transported to the hospital. I believe 4 or 5 months in the hospital, rehab. 3 months in the hospital, rehab. But just recently, he returned to work as a police officer with no deficits. And during the course of this, we were getting updates. Tyler spoke to the gentleman personally since he returned to work. Through our police contacts, they were speaking with the family. And repeatedly, what we kept hearing was the physician said, if Tyler wasn't there to do the CPR immediately and use the AED, the officer didn't stand a chance. He probably would have died before he ever reached the hospital. So some people say that's what we do, you know, in police and fire and EMS. But I think the fact that he was at a training class, this was kind of unexpected, and the fact that the reports I got that he took charge, acted without hesitation, and absolutely his actions saved this gentleman's life, and we had a very positive outcome. So this time I'd like to present to Tyler a CPR save pin. And a certificate, Millville Fire Department letter of commendation awarded to Tyler Van Leer for a medical CPR save, April 28, 2021. Description: firefighter Fire Marshal Van Leer, while attending a training session, witnessed a police officer suffer a sudden cardiac arrest. Without hesitation, Firefighter Van Leer immediately administered assistance, including CPR and the use of an automatic external defibrillator. The officer was transported from the scene to the hospital and eventually made a full recovery. Firefighter Van Leer's quick thinking and actions directly resulted in the saving of this individual's life. Congratulations, sir. Where's the wife with the camera? Come on, it's your wife. Come in with the shot.
You can come up closer.
You can come up if you like.
Come up and get the picture. You can go up. Come and get a better picture. Yeah. Get a nice picture.
Firefighter Van Leer, thank you so much. It goes to show you angels come in all shapes and sizes, and if it wasn't for this man, we would have lost a life. You bring a lot of pride to the city of Millville, and especially to me as Public Safety Director. I'm going to thank you for all the services.
Great job. Okay, the other commendation that we're going to do is more recent. And at this time, if I could have EMS Chief Feltus and Chief of Police Farabella, Sergeant Stadnick, and EMT Mike Sherbico come up. So I know, I'm sure both the chiefs want to make some comments too, I'm sure, but I have the mic first, so I'm going to keep it. So the next incident kind of speaks to the quality of the people that work for the city and work in public safety. I'm always proud of my staff and what they do on a day-to-day basis. But sometimes they do something a little above and beyond. This is kind of an unusual circumstances and how it played out. But the actions that these two individuals took from the fire EMS side and from the police department, I believe deserve some recognition. I was not at the incident, and I heard about it after the fact, and then I received a letter from Chief Farabella and Sergeant Stadnick in reference to one of my EMTs, and I talked to Chief Feltus, and we both agreed that we felt we should read it in public because, you know, we wanted to make sure he had the recognition. A copy's already gone in his personnel file, but I wanted to read it on the record at a commission meeting so that he would get the recognition that he deserves. So, and this is, like I said, a little bit more recent. September 18th, 2021, a letter addressed to myself and EMS Bureau Chief John Feltus, Chief Lippincott, Chief Feltus. This letter is to advise you of the actions of one of your employees, Michael Sherbico. On Saturday, September 18th, 2021, at approximately 15:31 hours, members of the Millville Fire Department, EMS, and Police Department were dispatched to the area of the Sharp Street Bridge for the initial report of a special needs juvenile that jumped off the bridge into the water and did not resurface. EMS arrived first and began searching the area of the floating dock and were quickly joined by the police department. Based on the information provided and at the time span from first call to arrival, the decision was made to enter the water and perform the initial search. EMT Sherbico did not hesitate in entering the water along with a member of the police department to perform the initial search. Upon entering the water, it was found that there was a strong current going away from the victim's point of entry. EMT Sherbico was the first to make it to the area under the bridge and was soon joined by PD. A primary search was conducted with negative results. EMT Sherbico and PD then attempted to get through a densely wooded area in order to gain access to the river further downstream. In the end, the subject was located and found to be alive and had exited the water under his own power. I wanted to take the time to commend EMT Sherbico on his selflessness and his willingness to enter the Morris River in order to make an attempt to save the life of a victim. It is my belief that regardless of the age or physical, mental capacity of the victim, EMT Sherbico's actions would not have been any different than what he displayed on this date. EMT Sherbico's actions truly exemplify the characteristics that those of us who enter the emergency services field attempt to live up to on a daily basis. Signed, Sergeant William Stadnick III and Chief Jody Farabella. Mike, congratulations. Like I said, even though the patient had gotten out of the water, and there's some other backstory to that, we won't get into all that, but it's the fact that he was willing to, without the knowledge, knowing that whether the person was in the water or submerged or not, he didn't hesitate to jump in and begin the search along with a member of the police department. So again, this copy of this letter has been placed in Mike's file, and I have a copy for him here, and I'm going to turn over to Chief Farabella.
Thanks, Chief. Mike Lippincott. Pretty much this story is the same as Chief Lippincott just said. Can never give enough positive praise to your men. Despite it wasn't a tragic event, it was with the action of the officers at the time they did. They didn't hesitate. They went in the water believing that there was a victim underwater. So I got to give a lot of kudos to the fire department and also Sergeant Stadnick. And I'm just going to give a quick read of the letter of commendation that I gave Stadnick. It's similar to what we just heard, but on September 21, at this time, I would like to commend you for your actions on September 18th while responding to a call in the area of the Sharp Street Bridge for initial report of a special needs juvenile that jumped off the bridge and did not resurface. EMS arrived first, began searching the area of the floating dock, were quickly joined by the PD. based on the information provided at the time, spammed the first call to arrival, the decision was made to enter the water and perform initial search. You did not hesitate and enter the water with the EMT to perform your initial search. Upon entering the water, it was not found that there was a strong current going away from the victim's point of entry. A primary search was conducted of the area under the bridge with a negative result. At this time, you and the EMT attempted to get through a densely wooded area in order to gain access to the river further downstream. In the end, the subject was located and found alive and exited the water under his own power. I wanted to take this time to commend you for your selflessness, willingness, and to enter the Morris River in order to make an attempt to save the life of a victim. These are the type of notification I'm happy to receive, and I want you to know that your actions do not go unnoticed. Please keep up the good work. You have set a fine example for others to emulate. At this time, Commissioner Pepitone is going to give you a little certificate for your actions.
Once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have two awesome individuals here, and it's great to see how the police department and the fire department, as well as EMS, work together for the safety of our citizenry. And again, I'm so proud of you guys to be public safety director, but there's a great deal of pride that comes to you from the city of Millville as well. Thank you so much. Nice job, gentlemen. Thank you again. I have one more proclamation to share. Did you want to do this with me? Oh, you go for it. Let me read the proclamation. Thank you. Whereas Captain John Doug D. Halquist retired from the Millville Fire Department after 25 years of service, and whereas Doug provided dedicated service to the Millville Fire Department in many capacities, including serving as captain, technical rescue team leader, and union president, and whereas Doug for many years has served as president of the Firemen's Mutual Benevolent Association Local 63, whereas Doug has been married to his wife Melissa for 38 years, and they are the proud parents of Ryan and Michael. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners of the City of Millville do hereby honor and extend warm wishes to Doug Halquist to celebrate his retirement after 25 years of exemplary service and dedication to the city, community, family, and friends adopted October 13th, 2021. Signed by the mayor and the commissioners.
And he's in Florida already. but his son has followed in his footsteps,
here we
and he's
go.
working tonight, so we'll have Michael make sure that he gets it. Thank you very much.
He's in Florida. Joe, you have any other comments, or you good?
No, that's the thing.
All right, congratulations to all. All right, we'll go into public comment. Anyone in the public that has a comment on the agenda item, please step up to the mic, state your name and your concerns on that agenda item, and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Kevin Estelta, Millville, New Jersey. Just want to do a really quick 22-8. That is the letter of intent. Again, I'm just going to reiterate, I don't think that is the best use of that property, being the entry point of our city. I do not have an issue with the business in other locations, but this is the first entry point as you drive into our city. I know it's in disarray now and does need something done with it, but is that what we want to see for the next 100 years, as our old building was there for 100 years? So just remember that decision is a long-term lasting effect. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you. Anyone else? I close the public comment on agenda items only. Old business, please.
We have no old business, Mayor.
Any discussion items?
No, Mayor?
Petitions and letters?
We have none of those either.
Reports of commissioners. Commissioner Cooper,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
you're welcome.
And from the Parks Department, we have cut 14 properties in the last 2 weeks. A few you may be interested in: Senior Center, Glasstown and Valley, the G Marina, Morris River Trail and Entrances, Rob Shannon Sports Complex, Union Lake Park, and Coventry Way. This past Saturday, the Millville Recreation Department and the Millville Development Corporation held a riverfront concert featuring the Snake Brothers Band and Arsenal. The crowd was light, but it was a good time had by all, and we're looking forward to partnering again soon. Upcoming projects. So we're going to be working on the last pass of grass cutting on properties throughout the city before it gets too cold. We're going to be trimming around the pond at Corson Park to actually prepare for the upcoming fishing tournaments. The upcoming fishing tournament that is coming up, I'll speak more about that in a minute. But upcoming events, craft nights. We're going to be having 2 more craft nights this year, October 20th and November 3rd. This craft series will be making a reversible fall and winter welcome sign. Again, all spots are filled, but give us a call Sam, and maybe we can get you on the waiting list. Fourth Friday, this month's Fourth Friday will be held on October 22nd. We're hosting an open mic night, so if you can sing, play an instrument, recite poetry, or any other talent, sign up, again, by emailing Samantha Cruz at millvillenj.gov. There will be prizes awarded, and thank you to Hope and Liberty Services for donating the prizes. Now, the annual fishing tournament. We have a lot of fun doing this every year. The fishing tournament will take place on October 23rd at Corson Park. Registration is at 9 a.m., and fishing will take place from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We'll serve lunch at noon. And the tournament is open for 5 to 18-year-olds. But everybody come out and fish and help out the 5 to 18-year-olds. The Pumpkin Extravaganza will be held Saturday, October 30th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. on Pine Street between 2nd and 3rd. There will be a costume contest, pumpkin decorating, trunk or treat, games, music, and much, much more. And last but not least, the annual Christmas parade will be held Friday, November 26th, on High Street. You can also view our annual parade by tuning in to local channel 22, Quinn Broadcasting on the Facebook page, or on channel 22, QBCTV22.com. Now, if you'd like to participate in the parade, please reach out to the Millville Recreation Department. And this year, the theme is Magical Lights. So let's see how magical your imagination can be. And we'll see you at this year's parade. And just as the parade goes down the street, Mr. Mayor, moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Pepitone.
Thank you, Mayor. 4 years ago, when I came to office and I adopted the position of Director of Public Safety as a guidance counselor, we wondered how that was going to play out. During that time, I want to say I've met 3 incredible men who've led this city, thank you, who've led this city, keeping it safe and protected. And I learned a great deal from them. Again, not knowing anything about public safety, and I'm grateful for the kindness, for the knowledge that they had, for the preparedness they had to continue to lead the city. Hope they learned a little bit from me as well. What I'm going to do this evening, as opposed to presenting my report, I asked the chiefs to come in and give a few words on their departments, how they feel it's been running, and some of the positive things that we've accomplished over the time. So with that, I'm going to ask the 3 chiefs to please come up one at a time and share a few words from their departments.
Thank you. I'll keep it brief. I can't speak for the other 2. So, at the last commission meeting, we had an ordinance change. last commission meeting, we had an ordinance change, or resolution, I'm sorry, to change the work rules for EMS. And I came so I could explain that, and had an opportunity to come up here and talk to you about kind of what was going on with EMS. And afterwards, we got a lot of positive feedback, and Commissioner Pepitone said, maybe it would be nice to have the public safety chiefs come more often and speak about your departments. We send a monthly report, it's just statistics and numbers. And I thought it was great because I think sometimes, a lot of people, they think they know what they do, or maybe they do, but not everyone really knows the makeup of the departments and what we do day to day and things like that. So with a couple minutes here, I just want to give a kind of an overview of the fire department, where we're at, what we're doing right now, since it is getting near the twilight for this commission. 4 years. I'll talk about a few highlights over the past 4 years that we've been able to accomplish, and then hopefully for some couple goals for moving forward. So just real quick, and again, I said it's kind of funny sometimes as I talk to people. The fire service, unlike the police, is different than there's some all-volunteer fire departments. There's fully paid fire departments, and then you have this unique thing in Millville called a combination fire department where we have full-time and volunteers. And I'll have people that are moving to the area, and I'll see them at a Wawa or something like that, and they'll say, oh, there's paid firemen in Millville? Or they'll say, oh, do you have any volunteers? And they just know that you call 911 and we show up, and they don't know whether you get a paycheck or not. And that's fine. That's the way it should be. But so I thought I'd just give a real quick overview of the fire department as it stands right now, October 2021. We have 35 full-time employees split into 2 divisions, fire suppression and EMS. On the fire side, we have 17 full-time. That includes an administrative assistant, chief, 3 captains, 12 firefighters. We have 14 active volunteers. And why that number sounds low, the 14 that we have are very dedicated, commit a lot of time, obviously for free, and they still are a large part of our fire department. We staff 1 truck 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with 3 firefighters. Our EMS, and Chief Feltus will talk a little bit about that, also has 17 full-time, including himself as chief EMT, 16 full-time EMTs, and we have approximately 12 per diem or part-time EMTs. So it's a small department, but it's growing and continues to provide a much-needed service to the city with that staffing. On average, over the last 2 years, we responded to 7,300 calls. That's fire, 1,300 calls, EMS, 6,000. Fires, 1,300. That 1,300 isn't 13 buildings burning down. We average about 30 to 35 structure fires a year, or a little bit more than 2 a month, which is actually pretty busy for a town of this size. But the joke is, if you don't know what else to do, you call 911 and they send the fire department. So we come out for water leaks, smoke investigations, if something smells funny in my house. We do a lot of just public services and things to the community. And, we're happy to do that, to get out and provide those services. I know sometimes when it's 4 in the morning, they're a little frustrated to get up and do that, but that's part of the job. We also, the fire inspection program for the state falls under what's called the local enforcing agency, which is the Millville Fire Department. So the fire code in New Jersey is a state code administered by the DCA, but at the local level, it's enforced by the fire department. You saw one of my fire marshals here today, Firefighter Van Leer. I have 2 firefighters assigned as fire marshals to handle investigations and inspections, and currently they are doing about 1,200 fire inspections and permits a year. That's also a revenue generator for the city for the permits, and then the registration fees are collected by the state, and when we complete the inspections and certify it to the state, they send us the registration fees to cover the cost of the fire inspections. Real quick, over the last 4 years, I don't know if I'm going to have an opportunity to address the whole commission again. Hopefully I will before the end of the year, but since I have the opportunity to be up here, just thought some of the things that were accomplished under this administration. The big one, we started EMS service. We talked about that at the last meeting. We added 2 new firefighters to our staff, which allowed us to upgrade our inspection program. I was able to move 2 firefighters to day shift. And basically, they're still firefighters. They respond to fires, but when they're at work, where the other shifts are training and responding to calls, these 2 firefighters work strictly on code enforcement and fire prevention. And it's been we had a great increase in the effectiveness of that program, and that's because of the 2 additional firefighters we hired over the past couple of years. We've been able to replace 3 of our support vehicles. We had an aging fleet of SUVs, and over the course of the last 4 years, we've been able to add some new vehicles to upgrade that. We replaced an engine in 2019, which was a much-needed addition. And as you know, we just recently approved the bond for the tower ladder. Very expensive piece of equipment, as you know, $1.47 million. Is probably where the price is going to come in. We're working with the vendors right now to get a set of specs and get the truck ordered. It's going to be a huge benefit to the city, the capabilities that that truck has. The good thing is, typically in the fire service, we get about 25 years out of a piece of apparatus. So it's a lot of money, but it'll be spread out over 25 years. And the only bad news there is that, for those of you that want, make a note, 2023, give me a call, email me, whatever. We'll get you a ride in the truck, put you up in the, but that's the anticipated delivery date. Everyone's heard about supply chain issues. They're about 18 months now to get a fire truck built. It's kind of unfortunate. They said it might come in sooner. They give you the worst case scenario. But that's going to be a huge addition to the city, replacing a truck that's 30 years old now. And just moving forward quickly, some challenges for the next 3-4 years. We have to continue to work on increasing staffing. I'd like to be able to have our minimum staffing at 4 on a shift versus 3. It's much safer and more efficient. So that's something that we're going to have to continue to look at. I know budgets are tough. We have a vehicle replacement schedule, and we've been very good about that. This commission, previous commissions have been very good as far as helping us with replacing our vehicles. We'll need to continue to do that. And then the other big thing, and I'll leave it with that, is here's my recruitment pitch. We need volunteers. We really do. It's never going to be an all-volunteer or mostly volunteer fire department anymore. That day is gone, unfortunately. And it's not just the fire service, it's anywhere in the community, coaches and community groups. But we still rely on and desperately need volunteers to supplement our full-time career staff. We certainly can't do it without them. And it's a huge commitment, and anyone that's interested can contact the fire department and speak to one of the captains or myself about it. It's a big undertaking, but if you know someone or you think you're interested, we're still looking for volunteers, and I hope that we'll always continue to be a combination department that has career staff but supported strongly by a volunteer group. So I don't want to take up any more time. I probably talk longer than I should. Again, I just want to thank all the commissioners, especially for the things we've accomplished over the last 4 years. Hopefully, maybe I'll be able to come and see you one more time as a group before the end of the year. And if you have any questions, you all have my email and my cell phone number, and I'm always available if you have any questions about the fire department or what we do.
Thank you, Chief Lippincott.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, everybody. My name is John Feltus. I'm the EMS Chief for the City of Millville here. I do want to say that, it's been a great opportunity for me, but, and I want to thank all of you for your support, because without that, it wouldn't have gone any place, but I really have to say, I'm going to just set you back a little bit and say that my biggest asset are my staff. They do a good job every day. They work hard. They, as you can see, when Mike, he entered the water to go after someone, they can take them calculated risk because they're trained to do so, and they'll do that every time. They'll do what they need to do for people. So, I see myself as a facilitator in a servant leadership kind of a role, where my job is really to make sure they have everything they need, they have the backbone support that's grown through the system, and they depend on me to make sure that I have something there for them. But they do all the hard work. They do the work every day, and they're dedicated, and they really do a great job with that. So I always like to talk to somebody about our staff, because they're very good. We picked up a good group of people. Typically, we're staffing 2 ambulances 24/7 right now. That's been up and down a little bit. That's why we wanted to change the schedule that we talked about at the last commission meeting. And the new schedule model will start in November. It'll help us, with a new model that will put the full-time employees in place all the time. So then the per diems cover that when they're not working, they're on vacation or whatever. Plus, we're looking to pilot a power truck, which is another truck that'll go up from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. most of the days to pick up these calls that are going to mutual aid. So we want to try to make sure that there's always a good system in place, And I mentioned before, being the best is a constant, everyday thing you have to do. So, like, you just can't get to the top and say, okay, we're at the top, we're going to be good from here. So that'll help that out. But the biggest thing, too, is it'll help reduce the fatigue on the employees, because with the current model we have, if per diems aren't available, the full-time staff are working extra shifts, and sometimes they're working 18-hour shifts back-to-back. They work 18 hours, go home, sleep for 6, come back and work 18 more for a long period of time. So, again, with this new schedule, it's something that was staff endorsed, and they're happy to see it come their way. And giving them the opportunity to have the say in the matter, it gives them complete ownership in that. So that's another good thing. And as Chief Lippincott said, that there's about 6,000 responses per year. Right now, as a high-performance system, we've changed the lives of nearly 8,000 people since we come into service in July 2020.
Wow.
And that's really good. And so what we've done was, the other accomplishments is we started this service in July of 2020. I was hired February 24th of 2020. Having the knowledge of how to do this, thought might be pretty easy, but then a week later, the COVID storm moved in, and it hasn't gone away yet, really. So that created some problems, amid the federal, state, and local closures due to COVID, presented a monumental challenge in getting this done, but we got it done in time. So in 5 months, we got it done, but it was with everyone's help, with the fire department, staff, and some others. We pulled together and we got everything done and put the service in place. And the state people I work with said, really no one's ever done that in less than 6 months. We did it in 5 under a COVID storm. So I'm pretty proud of that. But it's not all me, it was the other people there. So I think the other thing we're doing is, which is going to move into a more, a larger program, is we've been doing a community wellness program. In the past, they used to call it community paramedicine. It's the same program, but we're managing it a little bit differently because we're not going to people's houses all the time right now like they did in the past, because the COVID is still available to us. But the purpose of that is we go to calls, 911 calls, routinely to certain places. And so after we start hitting those places again, I've been doing it, and I have a team of people that are working along with this, and we start reaching out to the various services to get these people the services they need, because sometimes they're not really sick. They're not a 911 sick call. They have to go to the hospital to get certain things dealt with and done. But if we can provide that to them at home, they don't have to go to the hospital all the time. And it just provides a better quality of life for people. And when I was over in Spirit and I ran the paramedic system, we ran a community paramedicine program there. It was very successful. People are happy to get these now. I know we have about around 20 right now that we have worked through different services through the county and other areas that we've provided these people with the services. And I have one good example for you, that we went to a home 38 times in 2 months. And so we worked with this person and got them involved in a PACE program, the LIFE program, and got some other services from the county's Health and Human Services Department. And we have not been back there since then. Now, we'll go there tonight because I said that, but that's how things work, So the other challenges to EMS right now is staffing. Staffing is hard for everybody everywhere. In EMS, it's that way because EMS people work for everybody. But, as you go places, if you go any place in the world right now, somebody's got a sign up that says help wanted. So staffing is hard everywhere, The other thing that is a challenge to us is that, and it is to everyone else, is that getting supplies to care for our patients is very difficult because of COVID slowed the production of key items. And so we have a number of medical vendors, and sometimes I have to search through them to see what I can find from each one. And obviously the price goes up on them once they get to be short. Then things double. So other than that, we're good to go. And I thank all of you for your support. It means a lot to us and to my staff, and they're happy being here. And we're working forward with things. They're working forward with their contract, and you'll hear about that sometime, maybe before you're gone, maybe after, So, but otherwise, that's it.
Thank you very much,
Chief.
Chief Feltus.
Good evening, Chief Firebill from the Millville Police Department. I want to thank the commission for giving us a chance to talk about the men and women at the Millville Police Department. I think the city of Millville will be very proud and happy of some of the accomplishments we've done over the last several years. I'm just going to go off and talk about some of the projects and things we're doing. We do our community walks. Once a month, we walk with the community. 4 or 5 officers walk and talk to anyone who was out. We connect with the Department of Human Services, help the homeless get connected with SSI and SSD, help homeless find a place to stay, connect with Oaks Integrated. They have an urgent care for a mental illness, open 6 days a week. Walk-ins are welcome. We personally brought people to these places, our officers have. Connect with the Cumberland County Prosecutor's Office with the ROW program, Recovery on Wheels. Once a month, we pick a lot. Usually it's on the second Wednesday of every month, and help people with addiction. Actually, the ROW Recovery on Wheels will be out here Monday of next week in front of City Hall. Encourage anybody to come out who has a problem and wants to talk to a counselor, they'll be out there. Work with CARES. We connect with those with addictions and get them a coach. We help people get services. Narcan list. We follow up every time we Narcan someone. We follow up on that and make sure if they need any help, we offer services like the Oaks and the CARES program. We also walk through the woods for the homeless camps at least once a week. We give them service to help find a place. We help with the mobile food pantries, the Holly City Developmental Corporation, and the Cumberland County Food Bank. On the first Friday, usually behind the library from 10 to 12, we serve food. February, we were at the Millville Gardens where we handed out food for over 100 people. Back in March at the Oakview Apartments, we assisted in giving out over 300 meals. Myself and Commissioner Pepitone and some of my community policing unit has been speaking to our youth ever since the George Floyd incident, just trying to relate and connect with our youth and adults in the community. We worked with the City of Millville schools and conducted a lot of lockdown drills in various schools in Millville. I'm very proud to say that the National Night Out was very successful, our second annual. Probably, I guess, around 1,400 people showed up where they got food, drink. I want to thank the Parks and Commissioner Cooper with his assistance with that. The fireworks display was very nice. It was all donated by our drug informant money, which I have my PBA president back there. He has a K-9, and we assist and work with the United States Postal Service, where we seize a lot of money, and it goes to programs like that. I'm very proud of some of the stuff we do with PAL. It's probably one of the biggest programs that I'm very proud of seeing develop over the years. That and our chaplaincy program. We do a flag football, we do wrestling, we do basketball, we do the hooked on fishing, and that pretty much is about 500 Center City kids at any given time. We take them to activities, things that they could never normally do, and I'm very proud of our officers who do that and keep that going. We do a lot of community cleanups. We have monthly chaplain meetings, and another thing, I reach out with the chaplains, how they help the police department. We're not mighty, we're not a lot of officers. I mean, everybody has manpower issues, but what they do help us with is any juvenile infraction we have out there, we have something that's required as an AG guideline, as a station house adjustment. And where they help us so much is they can make them do some type of community service and work off their charges. So we keep them out of the system. We don't arrest them, and we know we have known for a while now. Of course, we're not going to arrest our way out of these problems with our juveniles. So we thank our chaplains for all the work they do. Again, with our homeless, we connect to work with several homeless members in our community. We have partners with Oaks Integrated Star, EISS programs to assist homeless, mentally ill, and CDS dependents. I'm very proud also, this is something we've done, but we were continuing to do is our police explorers. We have about 10 explorers that we have in our department now. I encourage any youth, anybody who's interested in being a future cop to contact Rick Cott to be a police explorer. We meet once a month, we do some training, we take them on trips, and it's a great program. I just want to touch a little bit on PAL. Our PAL program, just to say a little bit what it's about and what we've done with it, is our city's PAL program serves the Millville youth with recreational, educational, and youth development and enrichment programs. PAL programs work toward prevent juvenile crime by the building tasting bonds between city police and community youth. Activities such as open gym nights, swimming, basketball, football, wrestling, recreational outings, and fishing, and instrumental in building positive relationships between our residents and their children and law enforcement. With the assistance of the police officers and volunteers of community members, PAL facilities weekly structure and supervise activities in a safe and secure environment. While the deterring juvenile delinquency, the violence in our city, our collaborative programs are designed to encourage and develop the citizens and allow each child to realize their full potential as a productive, important member of our society. It's a most rewarding work. Some other things I just want to touch on is our PAL golf outing, and was very well this year. We were at White Oaks. I think we raised something in the neighborhood of $15,000. It was very, very productive to help with our PAL program and keep it running. Some new things that we're working with the AG's office to establish a gun violence and task force. In each of our 500 law enforcement agency, a liaison will be we'll have a liaison for the city of Millville. The county will have a liaison, and the state police. And what we're going to, it's something the AG is requiring everybody to do. And what it is everybody's going to be on the same page with a person who's a violator. We know in Trenton, if someone commits a crime, it could link to a homicide in Patterson. So everybody's going to be on the same page. We're going to work and connect together to get some of these bad guys off our streets. I'm very proud to initiate hotspots. This is where each squad is assigned 6 hotspots. The squad must go every day when working in the community. It's a community-based program, and more or less we reach out, talk to the communities, ask them what the problems in their area, how can we help, and it's been very helpful. ICAT and ABLE. This is some additional training that every officer since the George Floyd, which is a great program. It's a 3-day course. Every officer in the state of New Jersey will go over how to a duty to intervene, how to handle a use of force incident, and it's a great educational purpose. I do want to make a couple announcements. We have a gun buyback that's going to be October 23rd. It's going to be at 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's located at Alm Center in Bridgeton, 1 Martin Luther King Jr. Way in Bridgeton, and that's going to be October 23rd. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Any weapon that you have in your household or a family member that you don't want, you can turn that weapon in and you can get a reward of up to $250. No questions asked, just turn it in. I want to make an announcement that our trunk or treat that our law enforcement officers along with EMS and the fire department will be out on October 31st, Halloween. The location will be 3rd and Pine Street from 4 to 7, where kids can trick or treat in a safe environment, and the police department, also forestry service will be out there as well. That's pretty much some of the things we were doing in the last few years that I'm very proud about. The way the Millville Police Department is structured, we have 1 chief, 1 captain, 4 lieutenants, 14 sergeants, 7 crossing guards, 3 specials, and 9 civilian staff. We have 4 squads made up of 2 sergeants on each squad, which is very beneficial to us if one's off, one's working. With a lot of the stuff going on with the AG's office, we have to have 1st and 2nd level reviews, and reports have to be signed by 2 different level supervisors. Like every chief said, it's always a staffing issue you're dealing with. To be more proactive within the city of Millville, you need proactive units. You need community policing units. You need things to be able to assist your community better. Somewhere in 2006, we were budgeted for 83 officers. We're at 2021, we're still at 83 officers. We have to boast them numbers. We have to get them up. But all in all, I thank you for letting us give us a little report out what the Millville Police Department does. They work very hard for the city of Millville. Each and every one of these guys are excited to do their job. And they're very proud to do it, and I'm very proud of them. They go to work every day and put their life on the line. We had a lot of challenges in 2021 with COVID, with George Floyd, with the force report, and sometimes you think back why it would boggle your mind that there would be an all-out war on police, but a lot of good things came from it. We got educated, we got smarter on how we do business, more education, and it was needed. So that's pretty much what I have for the report out. Thank you for giving me
Thank
your
you,
time.
Chief Farabella.
Thank you.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I asked these gentlemen to come and share with you a little bit about their department, and you can see the pride that each of them have by the amount of information they shared. I've had 4 years to work with them. They kind of encapsulated that information for all of you, and I'm so proud and honored to be having the privilege of working with them. They are selfless people. All the individuals of public safety are. Chief Lippincott says, they call and we come. And that's basically how public safety works. When there's a need, the public calls and there's a reaction from public safety to meet their needs. They create the safety net that keeps our families safe in the city of Millville. I have the privilege to oversee this department, but none of this would be possible without the team I have to my right. Bruce Cooper, Ash Udalvis, Mayor Mike Santiago, and Vice Mayor Jim Parent. All of us have worked together when it comes to public safety to support these individuals, to make our city a great place. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for the opportunity that we've had to work together thus far. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Good. Commissioner Udalvis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Department of Public Affairs continues to accept applications from interested tenants applying for the CDBG Rental Assistance Program via the city's website or in paper format made available at City Hall. The program is applied for by tenants demonstrating need of rental assistance as well as necessary documentation, while the payment is disbursed directly to landlords or mortgagors as per requirements of the CDBG program. Interested applicants may contact Yasmin Moreno via email or by calling 856-825-7000, extension 7341. This evening, proposed revisions discussed at the September Planning Board meeting have been provided by the Planning Department and City Solicitor as demonstrated by the ordinance on second reading, amending a portion of Chapter 30. To summarize explanation from the September 21st meeting of the Commission, the Planning Department seeks to provide a clear schedule of fees for applicants that can be used within an internal guide as proposed through the draft ordinance and drafted by the city's previous planning consultant, Sarah Birdsall. This guide that adheres to the proposed revisions recommends applicant fees and deposits into escrow according to the components of the application. Therefore, the Planning and Engineering Department have recommended adoption of the fees that will be included in the final draft of the Chapter 30 format as provided by Ms. Birdsall. With the conclusion of this report, Mr. Mayor, progress.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor Parent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to receive and file the tax collector's report for the month of September 2021.
Second the motion?
A motion and a second. Any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Also, Mr. Mayor, motion to discuss and authorize the submission of the CY 2020 Best Practices Worksheet to the Division of Local Government Services.
Second that motion.
Before, do you think is she going to
Yeah,
do
I'm
the
gonna call
presentation
her
first
up.
and then,
Yeah.
should we do that first? Before
Yes,
voting?
I'm going to call her up.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you're called up, Marcy.
Okay.
Mr. Shepard is our CFO. This is in reference to the Fair Labor
the
and Standards
calendar?
Act. It's something we have to
2021.
report on.
Okay.
Correct.
Thanks, Marcy.
This year's best survey list had 48 questions. Out of the 48 questions, 27 were scored. The remainder were just for information for the state to know that we're working on shared services and economic development. So our score was 22, which anything over 15 gives you 100% of your aid. So we're good. I sent, the answers to these questions were my answers. I sent it to Jeannie, and I also sent it to Regina and Yasmin for the economic development part. for their input. And I believe out of my questions, the first question I answered yes, but I believe that that is not quite correct because the question is mainly, does your municipality not pay overtime to employees classified as exempt under the FLSA? And I believe that there are some supervisors that do get paid in an emergency situation. I believe streets and roads, like during a snowstorm or some kind of an emergency. So I think that's gonna have to be no, and I have yes. Then usually what I do is I just discuss the ones that I put no to so that we can improve and maybe make them a yes for the following year. So the first one that I answered no to was number 16, and it's, has your municipality established by ordinance an anti-nepotism policy that at minimum only authorizes the hiring the family members, relatives, of municipal officials and employees if the individuals involved do not work in a direct supervisory relationship. So I'm not aware that we ever passed a resolution, even though we probably abide by that, in that the supervisor usually does not supervise any relatives, but
Don't we have an ordinance?
It's in there.
this says a
It doesn't say, I don't believe it says direct report to
Correct.
the supervisor.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do follow that, though. I mean, we do follow that, the nepotism policy.
So maybe we can tweak that, so the next year we can put yes on that. Then the other answer that I had no to was, have public electric vehicle charging stations been installed, or are they currently being installed on municipal property? And I'm not aware that we even have any electric vehicles.
We do not, but right now the DEP is considering for fines for private companies, allowing them to buy electrical charging stations and locate them. And I believe there is a company now considering, they won't be on municipal property, but they are considering them on Route 47.
Okay, so those were the only two no's that I had, and the reason the numbers don't add up to the 22 is because some of them were not applicable. They don't apply to the city of Millville. The other questions that weren't scored, if you have any questions on that, we can discuss further, but they were just for, for informational purposes. And that's it. This has to be back to the state on November 3rd, so it was important that we discussed it tonight.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you, Marcy.
Thank you, Marcy.
Good job, Marcy.
And also for the record, it should be calendar year 2021, not calendar year 2020 on the, when you make the motion. I just realized the typographical error.
So we have a motion
Yes, Mr.
to
Mayor.
receive and file the Vice Mayor's report,
As amended.
right? Correct?
As amended, second the motion?
Okay. Got a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes,
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
and that's my report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have a report that needs to be received and filed of streets and roads for the month of 2021.
Motion to receive and file the Streets and Roads report.
Second that
Month of
motion?
September.
Thank you. Got a motion and a second. I'm going to read it before we accept it, so you'll have it. This report is from Wayne Gressman, our supervisor. His report from Streets and Roads for the month of September 2021. 56 tires were collected, 9 appliances, 3 code enforcement tickets were written, 70 code enforcement violations were given, 263 street sweeping tickets were written, 376.5 tons of brush was collected, 3,600 bags of loose leaves and grass clippings. In addition to that, catch basins were repaired at Cedar Brook and Lloyd Terrace and were completed. Brush pile at compost facility was chipped and hauled away. All windows, I think this might be wrong here. Loose leaves and grass clippings have been screened and hauled away. Grading at compost facility has begun to start, and that should be, going on and on through the rest of the year. And 2020, bless you, 2021 loose leaf collection will start the first week of November. So you have any loose leaves, put them out starting next week, so that we can get them up and haul them away. can I have a motion to accept? We did that
yeah,
already, so
yeah.
let's have a roll call.
Thank you.
Okay. So I have Vice Mayor Parent motion,
And-
Commissioner Pepitone
Yes.
seconded. So roll call is Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes,
Okay, motion carries.
thank you, Jeannie, for keeping me straight. That's all from me. We'll go to ordinance on second reading.
Okay, we have an ordinance amending Millville Code, Chapter 30, Land and Use Development Regulations, Article 1, General Provisions, Section 30-6, Fees.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this proposed ordinance on second and final reading.
Second the motion?
So the motion is second, and it's a public hearing. Anyone that has any comments or concerns in regards to item number 1 on ordinance on second reading, in regards to Millville Code Chapter 30, Land and Use Development Regulations, please step up to the mic, state your name and your concerns, and limit your comments to 5 minutes, please. Seeing no one, I close the public comments and public hearing on item number 1 on ordinance on second reading. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Ordinances on first reading, please.
Okay, we have an ordinance of the City of Millville, New Jersey, amending Chapter 46, Article 1 through Article 38, Personnel Policies.
Mr. Mayor, move for the passage of this proposed ordinance on first reading with final consideration to be given on November 3rd, 2021, after due publication provided for by law.
Second that motion?
Motion and a second. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Good job on getting that date right. It's the 3rd, which is a Wednesday, not Tuesday, because of
It's
the
the 3rd
election.
because of the election.
Yeah, so
Yes.
good catch.
There was an election?
Where? Thank you. Consent agenda items, please.
Okay, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the Board of Commissioners and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a governing body member so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 1 is a resolution authorizing adjustments in the tax and utility records, and item 2 is a resolution authorizing the insertion of an additional item of revenue in the calendar year 2022 budget, which is now available from the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs Neighborhood Preservation Grant pursuant to the provisions of the statute.
Motion to approve all agenda items, Mr. Mayor.
Second the motion?
Motion is second to approve consent agenda items. Are there any comments? Don't have any? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Resolutions.
Okay, item 1 is a resolution authorizing an electronic tax sale service agreement between the City of Millville and RealAuction.com for services as issued by ROK Industries Incorporated, the administrative agent for services related to the electronic tax sale to be held on January 19th, 2022.
Mr. Mayor, move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second that motion?
Okay, motion and a second on item number 1, resolutions. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 2 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of one white 2022 Ford F-450 with accessories from Buyer Ford at 170 Ridgedale Avenue, Morristown, New Jersey, for $61,045.50 for the Millville Water Department.
With that, Mr. Mayor, I have a certification, availability of funds from Marcella Shepherd in the amount of $61,045.50, and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion?
We got a motion and a second, certification of funds. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 3 is a resolution approving Second Amendment to Shared Services Agreement with the Authority and the City of Millville for fleet maintenance in an additional amount not to exceed $2,500.
And with it, Mr. Mayor, I have a certification, availability of funds from Marcella Shepherd, Chief Financial Officer, in the amount of $2,500, and move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion?
Again, we have a motion, a second, certification of funds. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Item 4 is a resolution rescinding Resolution Number 234-2021, adopted on October 5th, 2021, appointing Franklin J. Riesenberger of the firm Flaster Greenberg as environmental counsel.
Mr. Mayor, move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
The motion is second. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
And motion carries. And item 5 is actually a resolution appointing Franklin J. Riesenberger of the firm Flaster Greenberg through a non-fair and open process as environmental counsel in an amount not to exceed $37,500 from July 14, 2021 to December 31st, 2021, now that we have the pay-to-play on file. That was a requirement that was not met at the previous meeting, which is why we're doing this.
Mr. Mayor, I have a certification availability of funds from Marcella Shepard, Chief Financial Officer, the amount of $37,500.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second, certification of funds. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6 is a resolution approving site lease and occupancy agreement between the city and the Millville Public Library.
Mr. Mayor, move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
Motion is second on adopting occupancy agreement with the city and the Millville Public Library. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Motion carries. The next is a resolution memorializing Board of Commissioners' decision reversing Zoning Board of Adjustment and denying a use variance to Frank Carpino, DBA Liberty Village 3.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8 is I would just need a motion to remove from the table resolution approving letter of intent between the City of Millville and Symphony Brands Holding Company, LLC, for the redevelopment of the aforesaid property known as Block 260, Lot 5.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to remove this item from the table to add to the regular agenda this evening with a comment.
Second the motion.
Get a motion and a second on this resolution?
It's just a motion, and Commissioner Udalvis had a comment.
Okay.
Would you prefer to do that before roll call to add it back to the agenda, or is the motion sufficient at this point?
Brock, I think the motion is sufficient, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, all we're doing is removing it from the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll do a roll call.
Okay. Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
And now, prior to the resolution approving a letter of intent, I would like to provide this comment with additional commentary by our city administrator. It is important to note 2 items this evening. First, it is not a characteristic of the city's economic development professionals to recommend an item for an agenda prematurely, as was proposed by Commissioner Pepitone's motion to add the resolution item on behalf of Symphony Brands as the Director of Public Safety at the previous commission meeting. Second, this commission finds itself utilizing a public meeting to discuss that which could have been easily navigated by the professionals of economic development to examine the issue firsthand. To demonstrate that economic development has not only followed due process, but has in fact held companies to similar caliber by examining certain criteria prior to issuing letters of support or letters of intent. We will hear from the business administrator the findings presented at an economic development meeting to discuss the question of proposing letters of support or intent for the commission to endorse. Of the companies provided by name are those that which have been announced or appeared publicly on an agenda. Companies number 1 and number 2 are provided by these identifiers at the request of economic development to demonstrate that they are developing interactions that follow due process, while the item listed for consideration on this agenda as Symphony Brands was not provided the same due process and was instead added as per direction of a commissioner outside of a respective department to receive a letter of intent by request rather than through meeting criteria. At this point, I will defer to our City Administrator, Regina Burke, to provide those findings.
On Wednesday, October 13th, the Economic Development Committee met to discuss letters of intent and letters of support for the cannabis companies interested in developing in Millville and are applying for state licensing for recreational cannabis. The discussion evolved around a chart that was prepared depicting the experience and the intent of the cannabis companies who have inquired about letters of support to the committee. It is the committee's understanding the state will be issuing approximately 37 licenses for the entire state. That being said, the city will be fortunate if one or possibly two licenses are approved for Millville. It is our intention to ensure that should a company be approved for licensing, the company is capable of bringing the project to fruition. At the present time, the Commission has approved resolutions for support, letters of intent for 2 companies, and a letter of support for another company. These 3 companies have between 2 and 6 years' experience in the cannabis industry. In addition, they are also licensed in other states. All 3 of these companies have websites we were able to explore. There are 2 other companies who have not yet come public with their request. One of these companies has 8 years' experience, and the other was recently formed in New Jersey, but is licensed in 4 other states for as long as 9 years. The Economic Development Team has had inquiries from approximately 6 other companies, but these companies have not provided sufficient information for the committee to review. At our last commission meeting, the commissioners tabled a resolution for a letter of intent for Symphony Brands Holding Company so the Economic Development Committee could review further. It is the committee's understanding that this company is still in formation. Though the committee was told that one of the principals previously owned a cannabis company in California, no further information was provided. With the limited information that was provided, none of which exhibits experience in the cannabis industry, the committee recommends a letter of intent not be approved at this time.
Maintaining confidentiality of the developer as per direction of economic development, company number 1 was formed in 2013 and includes operations in 6 states, including Arizona, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, Missouri, and Pennsylvania. Company number 1 projects 160 to 200 employees with a prospective 10-acre site in the Hurley Industrial Park based on their studies. Company number 2 contains principals with experience since 2012 with establishments in Colorado, Oregon, Nevada, and Michigan. Company number 2 was formed in New Jersey in 2020 and seeks a private land purchase of 1301 North 10th Street with a projected estimate of 88 employees by the end of year 2. While both companies inquired into the procedures for continuing dialogue with the department, neither had been recommended to the commission, as the professional evaluation determined that more information would be required for issuing a formal letter of support. This demonstrates clearly that the resolution item 8 did not adhere to the same procedure and should not have been added to the agenda prematurely. This is not a commentary on any particular company. This is a matter of due process or lack thereof, and is not reflective of the department, but rather a commissioner or 2 who decided to disregard professional courtesy and recommend an item that is not respective to their departments. With having moved this item from the table and back to the agenda, it is now my intent to vote no to support the department's professional evaluation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Are there any other comments?
Quick one, I'm going to use the recommendation from the committee to, on this resolution, and my vote will probably be no also, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else? Guess we'll go right to a roll call.
So actually, there was no motion or second. This is for the resolution. We didn't read the next item. We just removed it from the table and had a comment. That's my understanding.
Right, we need a motion to move this resolution.
So get that clear, Brock, if we...
I don't
No,
think we did.
we didn't. No,
because I
we
think
had
you
him
made the comment.
to remove it from the
Exactly.
table, and then
Just to remove
we
it.
voted on it,
I made
and
the
then there was a
comment to
comment.
remove it. I made the comment upon having removed it from the table and adding it back to the agenda. The roll call was simply to adhere to that portion of the
We
roll
already,
call.
but we did the roll call, and
At
then you
this
made the
point,
comment,
there's
right?
been no motion
Yeah, I don't think there's
for a
been-
resolution
there
to
needs be a
approve.
motion
So we're
to
done.
approve.
Well, if there are any commissioners here this evening who wish for the resolution to move forward with an approval, at that point, we would have a first and a second. I will not be making that motion, and if there were to be no motion, that this resolution would fail.
I asked if anybody wants to make a comment, including that. No one?
No.
So I believe it's done, right? We're looking at you, Madam
If
Clerk.
there's no motion, then there's no action.
I think that there should be a motion to deny. Is that what we're?
Well,
No.
it's phrased as a motion to approve, so you could phrase it as a motion to approve. If you want to vote no, then vote no.
I
would
would
normally
feel
read-
comfortable if we voted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Madam Clerk, if I may, would it be customary to now read the italicized lettering, and then if there are any commissioners who wish for the resolution to move forward, they would voice it? If they do not voice it, then the motion fails.
Right, right. So, but normally I would read the item on the agenda. So
You would what?
I would read the item.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Why don't
ready?
you do that?
So go
Okay.
ahead.
Read the item.
So we have a resolution approving letter of intent between the City of Millville and Symphony Brands Holding Company, LLC, for the redevelopment of the aforesaid property known as Block 260, Lot 5.
Ding, time up.
Okay, so there's no
There's no
motion.
motion.
So there's no
second.
motion.
Okay, so
There's no
this
motion, no
fails.
second.
Okay,
That way it's done.
so this fails.
So there's no vote. This matters off for records.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Alrighty, so item 9 is a resolution approving amendment of letter of intent for Sweet Spot Cannabis to apply for state as a Class 1 cultivator license facility located at Block 125.03, Lot 11 in Hurley Industrial Park.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second the motion.
A motion and a second. Are there any comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, as a point of explanation, this letter of intent is amended to also reflect the formal redevelopment agreement template that was strived for by the Economic Development Department to also make this congruent to that which was issued for the most recent True Leaf. It was amended from 12 to 7 acres. The portion of the property that was eliminated or removed from the parcel takes into account wetlands.
Okay.
And the purchase price is solidified as $30,000 per acre, with the deposit requirement being clearly outlined in this agreement as well.
Very good. Are there any other comments?
Okay.
Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you. New business, please.
I just need a motion to authorize the city clerk to advertise for bids for the project known as calendar year 2022 work uniforms. Bids are due to be received by the City of Millville Purchasing Board, 12 South High Street, Millville, New Jersey, on November 9th, 2021 at 10 a.m.
Remember the motion.
Second the motion?
Motion and a second on new business. Want to get a roll call?
Commissioner Pepitone.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent.
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper.
Yes.
Mayor Santiago.
Yes.
Motion carries. And I also need a motion to approve the following special event on public lands applications. Jolly Holly 5K Run, sponsored by Our Future First, to hold a 5K and 1 mile fun run on November 26, 2021, from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. on High Street. Annual Christmas Parade, sponsored by the Greater Millville Chamber of Commerce, on Friday, November 26, 2021, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on High Street, and all intersecting streets from Sharp to Smith Street, pending the appropriate approvals.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of the motion.
Second the motion.
Motion and second. Are there any comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Pepitone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Parent?
Yes.
Commissioner Udalvis?
Yes.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yes.
Mayor Santiago?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We've now reached the public comment portion of our meeting. Anyone who would like to address this commission, please go to the podium, state your name, address your concerns, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes, please.
Lois Hall, Cedar Street, Millville. I have a concern, and it probably comes under public safety. Bicycles. Coming here tonight in front of Wawa at Cedar and Main Street. 2 bicycles, no lights on them, crossing not at an intersection. They came this close to me hitting them. If I hit them, it's my fault, by law. But they have no right to be riding without lights and not crossing at an intersection. I've had other times in Millville at dusk when kids are in the middle of the road out Broad Street doing like wheelies with their bicycles and everything right in the middle of the road. I thought there were some kind of rules that would protect us from these people. Somebody is going to hit one of these kids. And it's going to be that person's fault, and it's not fair. And I just like to see it change.
Thank you for bringing that up, ma'am.
If I can comment on that, I know that
Yes, sir.
in Perth Amboy, there was a similar incident, and the police responded, and I think there was criticism by the Attorney General of the Police Department for
For not
responding to that. So it's not an easy situation to fix.
Well, the point that she made about the lights, that might be an idea that we could require lights at nighttime, or at least reflectors.
Thank you, ma'am. Joe?
Thank you.
Joe Sutherland, 51 Dorset Avenue. I'm here as the coordinator of the Millville Municipal Alliance Committee, and we're looking forward to the pumpkin extravaganza. And I do thank you for mentioning the times, because I was still thinking it was 11 to 1. And I'd have been early and gone before you started. But again, we are looking forward. Sam always does a great job getting that put together, and we love working with her on that. Also, we're looking at helping PAL with uniforms and stuff for their basketball teams. And again, this year, we're going to do the volunteer recognition dinner. We're going to cut it, normally we do 250 to 300 people. We're going to cut it down to 150 people to make some people feel safer. And we're looking forward to being able to do that again. It's going to be, like I said, December the 5th at the Elks Lodge from 4 to 8. And we try to bring as many families as we can with young children to it, put on a very nice dinner. We do some door prizes and stuff. We have Santa come, they get a picture with Santa, and they get some little toy stuff to irritate their parents. We try hard to get that. And it's nice to be able to start putting on some programs for our kids again, because last year was kind of like a really dead year for us. It was for everybody. And as always, we appreciate the support that you have given us, and the police department. Yeah, they help us with a lot of stuff. And so thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Hi, Cindy Cook, Millville. First of all, concerning your presentation today for the accommodations to our officers and our fire, I have been honored many times recently and in the past to work frequently with our police officers and with the EMTs regarding our homeless. I personally have many experiences firsthand of their compassion and caring for our homeless individuals. I have seen them take time out of their days. They have answered phone calls for me, even on their off-duty times when I've had questions regarding some of our homeless individuals. I have contacted them when I've had donuts or bagels or something, and they have willingly said, bring them over, and met me behind the police station, and they have taken them around and given them out to their homeless people. We're very, very blessed in the city of Millville to have such a caring group of people. They touch my heart almost daily. They'll call me when they encounter a homeless person that needs a shower. I get phone calls weekly. I wish they were here to know how much we appreciate them. Now, on January 26 and 21, I represent the city of Millville for our Homeless Trust Fund. On January 26th of 2021, we did our annual point-in-time survey called PIT. This is where they take one night and they ask the homeless people, where did you spend the night on that particular night? Usually it only lasts one night, but because of COVID, even though the survey was for one night, we took 14 days to do the survey to make sure we counted everybody. I just have the statistics from Cumberland County itself. I don't have a breakdown at this point. But in Cumberland County, we had approximately total of 82 homeless individuals. Of these 82, 19 of them were unsheltered, which meant they spent the night in either a campground, a tent, or a car, or someplace other than something with a regular roof over their head with facilities. Now, why this is interesting is because in 2019, we had 183 people in Cumberland County. That's over 100 people more. Now, there's several different reasons for this drop. Many is because of our police department, who has been actively getting them. We've got the Recovery on Wheels, M25, a lot of people have worked in place. And also, it is one of the things, too, with COVID, because there weren't any evictions. So not as many people were evicted, but it's still, for our chronically homeless, it's a significant drop of people. Now, in New Jersey, this is all over New Jersey, because I love how people make assumptions of why people are homeless. In New Jersey, of the homeless population, 60.7% have a disability of some type. They indicated that on the survey. Of that, 59.8% of these individuals admitted that they have mental health issues. That's significant because a lot of times they don't admit it. So you're talking out of 60%, 59.8% admitted they had mental health. This is where we really need to find help for our homeless people. Of the rest of the population of homeless, we had 30.2% that had substance abuse issues. So as you can see, mental health is the big issue. Of the homeless population in New Jersey, 33% had no income at all. Nothing, zilch. No way. That meant that they're out there with nothing. Of this, 11.8% also had then we had 11.8% had earned income of some type. Now, earned income could be panhandling to part-time jobs. So, we had 11.8% admitted that they had some kind of earned income. 17.4% get general assistance, 16.5% get SSI. Now, 16.5% on SSI is not a very significant number for people that say, oh, we support them. No, because this includes families that are homeless also, that are out at the family shelter and everything, places like that. So you only have, a small percentage getting SSI. The biggest reason for most of the homeless individuals were because they were asked to leave where they were staying by either family members, landlords, or whatever. Now, admittedly, that goes back to the other issue, the mental health issues probably. The next highest percentage was because of a loss of income. They either lost their jobs or their incomes were significantly dropped, which in COVID, that happened to a lot of them. So I just wanted to give you the breakdown that the PIT came up with, so you'd see how we rank. And also, we ranked the 4th lowest of all the counties in New Jersey in our homeless population.
Thank you, Cindy.
Good job, Cindy.
Anyone else? I close the public comment portion of this meeting. Comments of commissioners. Commissioner Cooper.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I want to say congrats to our fire and police department members for their accommodations this evening. And congrats to our public safety leaders. Thank you, Commissioner Pepitone, for having our chiefs come up and
Thank you, sir.
explain a little bit about what's been going on for the past few years. I think it was an education for all of us and an education for those in the public. 7,300 calls. Man, that's a lot of calls.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible. And EMS service added. It was just good to hear that some of the tools that we provided for them, that they're really working well with. A great story of how our cities work together. When that young person jumped off the bridge, the Sharp Street Bridge.
dived right in.
That's Millville. That's community. That's what it's all about. Chief Feltus, I love what he said, service leadership, because that's what this is about. And service leadership is, the goal of the leader is to serve. And I want to say thanks to Chief Feltus for being that example. The community wellness program, I had no idea about that. Had no idea we were actually doing something like that. That was really exciting to hear, especially the example where he talked about 38 times they went out to that one particular home, and then when they instituted the community wellness, they haven't been back. So that's progressive, that's proactive, and that's what we need to be for Millville. We need to be more proactive to do programs like that. That was exciting to hear, so I want to hear more about that. Chief Farabella, it was exciting to hear about all the community stuff that's going on with the police department now. That's exciting. I mean, we really didn't have that much community interaction, I would say, 4 years ago. Not as much as now. And I want to thank you for instituting that, and for Chief Farabella to make sure that keeps going, like with PAL and the cleanups. And we've worked together in my department a lot with the police these past several years. And community programs really, in my opinion, as a police officer, that's what's going to change the city. As we work together, not against each other, but we work together with community programs, that's going to change the city. Even hotspots, when he talked about that, that's important. Those are really good things that really help change the city that a lot of people don't know about are actually happening. So I think that we have to find a way to really get that word out, that the police department is actually working with the community. Even the gun buyback. The gun buyback is this weekend. I haven't heard about it. This is the first I heard about it. That's a big thing. We need to get that out there and let people know there's a gun buyback going on, which is a great idea, something that we should be doing as often as possible. So those things were really great to hear from our public service, our leaders there. That was really good to hear. Cindy, thank you for that dissertation on the homeless and what's going on with the homeless. And it was exciting to hear that it's actually dropping, because a lot of people think it's increasing. So that's a testament to our police department as well, and you working with them, and again, our community working to solve these issues. That's what it is. It's all about community. That's what we need to continue to produce. Community, working together. All aspects, all cultures working together to make it better. Mr. Mayor, moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Cooper. Commissioner Pepitone.
Thank you, Bruce, for those kind words and for the kind words of our public safety leaders. I'm not a person who's very verbose in speaking a long time from the dais. Maybe I needed to do a little bit more about that to share the great things that our public safety people are doing. But as I said before, I have the honor of overseeing public safety, but it's my colleagues up here that have given the support to public safety throughout our term as commissioners. And again, I'm grateful to each of them for the support that they've given to keep this city safe. One of the points that I wanted to make was COVID. During COVID, I remember getting phone calls from Jody saying, this officer has it, that officer has it, and how they had to quarantine. It was really crazy. But they all worked together, all of the different departments, to make sure that there were people there to meet the needs of our city. And we're truly blessed by public safety and all the individuals that are involved in that department. I wanted to share that with you. And again, to my colleagues, thank you for your support.
Thank you,
Mayor.
Commissioner. Commissioner Udalvis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, I would also like to congratulate those who received commendations this evening from Public Safety. It's very important to see that those small acts of volunteerism and placing their lives, their safety on the line are brought to light. And thank you once again for providing that presentation for each of those individuals this evening. I would also like to thank our residents who also voiced their questions and their concerns regarding agenda items, or even just concerns that they had regarding the community in general. I think that while we've had the opportunity to reflect this evening as we end the month of October and we begin the month of November, which we know as being an election is an important month for some of the commissioners here, I think it's also important to make sure that we as commissioners are held responsible through the end of our terms through December 31st. So I think that when you're providing your concerns to us and your questions, that you should absolutely hold us responsible for continuing to follow up on them, for also continuing to enlist our professionals every step of the way to ensure that they are being adhered to. And I think that that is going to be, once again, that legacy that this commission is responsible for leaving behind, is that we worked until the very end of this term, realizing that our very last day was as important as each day prior to that, to prove to the public that we are here to work for you, each and every one. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And with the conclusion of that comment, progress.
Thank you, Commissioner. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, congratulations to all the recipients. You know, the work and the job of public safety is nothing like it used to be. You know, we remember when more police officers were really respected by a lot of people. Today, some of them really don't give a darn about them. I think one thing that we made a promise that we're going to be more active in the community. I think that has been done with our agencies and groups, and you're seeing what's happening with our police department. On the public safety, it's probably our biggest line item in our budget. I think that we realize that our police officers should not be defunded as happens in other areas throughout the country. Right now, they need more work, more help, and more support from the public that's out there. It's not like it used to be, and I mentioned that earlier. There's people out there that just don't give a darn about them. You know, they'll shoot one of them just on a split second. You know, there's no thing like a ordinary stop a car for running a light or something. If somebody has something in that car, they don't think twice. They have to shoot a police officer. Firefighters, you hear about firefighters trying to fight a fire, and people are shooting at them even, you know, or trying to stop them. I mean, it's horrible. So I'm a major supporter of public safety. I've always been that way from day one, and hope that we continue recognizing. Contract-wise, I think that Commissioner Pepitone did a tremendous job. Much more increase within those departments, salary-wise. You know, I talk to a lot of young people. They're scared to be a police officer. You know, they don't want to be a cop. You know, gosh, you know, when you used to grow up, you wanted to be a police officer. You know, it's difficult today. You know, they turn around and, you know, split-second decisions can cost them their job. You know, it's extremely difficult. But anyway, I just want to harp on that too much. I just want to thank the three chiefs that we have had the opportunity to work with. You know, they're outstanding individuals. They take their job very seriously. They know how important it is to our community, serving the public. I also want to remind everyone that, believe it or not, there's an election coming up November 2nd, okay? This is our last commission meeting before that election. I just want to congratulate those people who have the courage, you know, 10 of them, who want to sit up here, as we have. It's not an easy job, but just make sure you go out and exercise your right to vote on November 2nd. It's very important. It's your community. So get out there and have your voice heard. And with that, Mayor, progress.
Thank you. Great comments by other commissioners. Of those three chiefs, we are fortunate to have three chiefs that do a good job. I got to give a lot of credit to John Feltus, EMS.
Yeah.
It was something that we had, that we didn't have, and then we had to think about it. Did we want to spend this kind of money? And I think it's been nothing but success with EMS. The public likes it. I think we did a great job as commissioners here putting that through, and I think we selected a fine gentleman in John Feltus to lead that group. With that said, motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second the motion.
All right, this
All in
meeting has
favor?
been, come on.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.